right now without realizing it. One simple daily habit is quietly draining your energy, clouding your focus, inflammation, and stealing the life you deserve. You wake up tired, push through the day, and collapse at night thinking this is normal. It's not. Inflammation. Your body is always listening to what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. Small habits create big outcomes. Inflammation. The habit you tolerate today becomes the health you live with tomorrow. When you change one daily action, you change your strength, mood, productivity, inflammation, and future. Awareness is power, and today is the moment you take that power back. Inflammation, starting right now. Most health damage doesn't come from one bad decision. It comes from repeated actions done without awareness. Inflammation. Autopilot is when you wake up, grab your phone, sit for hours, eat without thinking, breathe shallowly. Inflammation, and move through the day disconnected from your body. The brain loves routine because it saves energy. Inflammation. But the body pays the price when routines are harmful. When you stop noticing what you're doing. Inflammation. You stop listening to the signals your body is constantly sending. Fatigue, stiffness, brain fog, and irritability are not random. Inflammation. They are messages asking for attention. Breaking autopilot starts with slowing down just enough to observe yourself without judgment. Inflammation. Awareness doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. The moment you notice how often you sit, how fast you eat. Inflammation. How shallow your breathing becomes during stress, you regain control. You don't need to fix everything at once. You simply need to interrupt the pattern. Inflammation. One pause during the day can change how your nervous system responds. One deep breath can reset tension you didn't even know you were holding. Inflammation. When you bring awareness to your habits, your body shifts from survival mode into repair mode naturally. Autopilot thrives on distraction. Inflammation. Constant notifications, background noise, and rushing from task to task keep the mind busy and the body ignored. The more distracted you are, inflammation, the easier it is to miss warning signs. Tight shoulders, a stiff neck, heavy legs, and low energy are signals that movement, hydration, or rest is needed. Inflammation, awareness turns these signals into guidance instead of discomfort. Your body becomes a partner instead of something you push through the day. Inflammation, breaking autopilot also means questioning what you consider normal. Feeling tired all the time is not a badge of honor. Inflammation, living in pain is not the price of aging. Being disconnected from your body is not productivity. When you stop accepting unhealthy patterns as normal, inflammation, you open the door to change. Awareness gives you the power to choose differently, even in small ways. Standing instead of sitting. Inflammation, breathing instead of rushing. Pausing instead of reacting. The most powerful changes happen when awareness becomes a habit. Inflammation. You start checking in with your body the same way you check your phone. You notice posture, breathing, energy, and mood throughout the day. Inflammation. This doesn't slow you down, it sharpens you. Focus improves. Energy stabilizes. Decisions become intentional instead of reactive. Inflammation. Your body responds quickly because it finally feels heard. Autopilot keeps you stuck in yesterday's habits. Awareness brings you into the present. Inflammation, where change is possible. Every time you notice a habit, you weaken its control. Every time you pause, you reclaim energy. This is not about doing more. Inflammation, it's about noticing more. When awareness leads, healthier choices follow naturally without force or pressure. The human body was designed to move. Inflammation, not to stay frozen for hours at a time. When movement disappears from your day, energy drops, circulation slows, and stiffness quietly builds. Inflammation. Sitting too long tells the body to power down. Muscles weaken, joints tighten, and the brain becomes sluggish. This doesn't happen overnight. Inflammation. But day after day, the lack of movement sends a clear message that the body is no longer needed at full strength. Inflammation. The result is feeling tired even when you haven't done much because inactivity drains energy instead of preserving it. Inflammation. Movement is not about intense workouts or long gym sessions. It's about reminding your body that it is alive and capable. Inflammation. Small movements repeated often are powerful. Standing up, walking for a minute, stretching your arms, rolling your shoulders. Inflammation. Or gently twisting your spine wakes up your nervous system. These simple actions signal the brain to improve blood flow, oxygen delivery, and alertness. Inflammation. The body responds immediately when it senses motion, and energy rises naturally without stimulants. Long periods of sitting compress the body. Hips tighten. Inflammation, the lower back stiffens, and posture collapses. Over time, this affects breathing and focus. When you stand and move regularly, inflammation, you create space in the body. Breathing becomes deeper, the chest opens, and tension releases. Inflammation. This is why a short walk can feel more refreshing than another cup of caffeine. Movement restores balance instead of forcing stimulation. Inflammation. Consistency matters more than intensity. Moving every hour is more beneficial than one burst of exercise followed by hours of stillness. Inflammation. Set a mental reminder to stand up, stretch, or walk briefly throughout the day. Treat movement like brushing your teeth. Inflammation. Something non-negotiable and simple. When movement becomes a habit, the body stays responsive instead of stiff and reactive. Inflammation. Movement also improves mental clarity. The brain depends on circulation to function well. When you move, blood flow increases, inflammation, helping you think more clearly and respond more calmly to stress. This is why ideas come more easily when you walk. Inflammation. Motion organizes the mind and grounds the nervous system. Even gentle movement can reduce restlessness and mental fatigue. Inflammation. The goal is to integrate movement into daily life, not separate it from life. Walk while talking on the phone. Stretch while waiting. Inflammation. Stand during short tasks. These moments add up. Over time, the body becomes stronger, more flexible, and more resilient without strain. Inflammation. Energy feels steadier, posture improves, and discomfort fades because the body is no longer being ignored. When you choose to move often, inflammation. You send a powerful message to your body that it matters. The body responds with vitality, alertness, and balance. Inflammation. Movement is one of the simplest ways to support health, and it begins the moment you decide not to stay still any longer. The modern world is loud, fast, inflammation, and constantly demanding your attention. Screens glow from morning until night. Notifications pull your focus in every direction. Inflammation. And the mind rarely gets a moment to rest. This constant stimulation keeps the nervous system switched on. Inflammation, draining mental energy and leaving the body in a state of quiet tension. When the brain never slows down, clarity fades, patience shrinks. Inflammation, and fatigue becomes a daily companion. What feels like staying connected is often the very thing disconnecting you from your own body and awareness. Inflammation. Reducing stimulation is not about escaping life, it's about creating balance. The brain needs moments of quiet to process, reset, and recover. Inflammation. Without these pauses, the mind stays reactive instead of responsive. Endless scrolling, background noise, and multitasking overload the senses. Inflammation. Even when the body is still, the brain is running at full speed. Inflammation. This creates mental exhaustion that no amount of sleep fully fixes because the nervous system never truly powers down during the day. Inflammation. Silence and stillness are powerful tools. A few minutes without a screen allows the brain to settle. Breathing becomes slower, muscles soften. Inflammation. And thoughts become less scattered. This is when focus sharpens and creativity returns. You don't need hours of quiet. Inflammation. Short breaks throughout the day are enough to reset the system. Turning off notifications, lowering background noise, inflammation, or stepping outside for fresh air creates space for the mind to breathe. Constant stimulation trains the brain to crave more stimulation. Inflammation. This is why boredom feels uncomfortable at first. The mind has become used to being entertained instead of present. Inflammation. When you resist the urge to reach for a screen during every pause, you rebuild attention and self-control. Over time, inflammation. The mind becomes calmer and more focused. You start to notice your surroundings, your thoughts, and your body again. Inflammation. Reducing stimulation also improves emotional balance. When the brain is overwhelmed, small problems feel big and stress reactions intensify. Inflammation quiet time helps regulate emotions naturally. You respond instead of reacting. This leads to better decisions, clearer communication. Inflammation and less mental fatigue. The nervous system shifts from constant alert mode into a more balanced state. Creating intentional quiet is a habit, not an event. Inflammation. Start by choosing specific times to disconnect. Morning moments without screens. Short breaks during the day without noise. Inflammation. Evenings with reduced digital input. These boundaries protect your mental energy. Inflammation. They remind your brain that it doesn't need to be available every second to function well. When stimulation decreases, awareness increases. Inflammation. You hear your thoughts more clearly. You feel your body more accurately. This awareness guides healthier choices throughout the day. Inflammation. The mind becomes an ally instead of a source of exhaustion. Quiet is not empty, it is restorative. When you give your brain space, it gives you back focus. Inflammation. Calm and clarity that no external stimulation ever could. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological rhythm that controls how your body repairs. Inflammation restores and recharges. When this rhythm is ignored, everything else begins to suffer. Late nights, irregular sleep times, and constant stimulation before bed confuse the internal clock. The body thrives on predictability. When sleep timing changes every night, inflammation. The nervous system stays alert instead of relaxed. You may lie down, but the body doesn't fully switch into recovery mode. Inflammation. This is why people can sleep for hours and still wake up feeling exhausted. Your body prepares for sleep long before your head hits the pillow. Inflammation, light exposure, mental activity, and evening habits all send signals to the brain. Bright screens, loud noise, inflammation, and intense thinking late at night tell the body to stay awake. When this becomes a habit, the brain delays the release of calming signals. Inflammation. Rest becomes shallow and fragmented. Respecting your sleep rhythm means creating an environment that supports rest instead of fighting it. Inflammation. Consistency is the foundation of quality sleep. Going to bed and waking up at similar times trains your internal clock. Inflammation. The body learns when to power down and when to rise. Over time, falling asleep becomes easier and waking up feels more natural. This rhythm improves energy, inflammation, focus, and mood during the day because the body trusts that rest is coming regularly. The way you end your day shapes the way you sleep. Inflammation. A calm evening routine signals safety and relaxation. Dimming lights, slowing movements, and reducing stimulation prepare the nervous system for rest. Inflammation. Even simple actions like gentle stretching, quiet breathing, or reading something calming help transition the body out of stress mode. Inflammation. These habits don't take much time, but they create powerful signals that tell the brain it's safe to rest. Sleep affects far more than energy. It influences decision-making, emotional balance, and physical resilience. Inflammation. Poor sleep makes the body more reactive to stress and less adaptable to challenges. When sleep is respected, patience improves, focus sharpens. Inflammation. And the body handles daily demands more smoothly. This is why protecting sleep is one of the most effective ways to support overall health. Inflammation. Late nights often feel productive, but they borrow energy from the next day. The body keeps score. Skipping rest today shows up as fatigue craving. Inflammation. Low motivation and mental fog tomorrow. Over time, this pattern creates a cycle that feels hard to break. Inflammation. Respecting sleep rhythm is about breaking that cycle by choosing long-term energy over short-term stimulation. The sleep environment matters. A quiet, dark, inflammation, and comfortable space allows the body to relax fully. Reducing noise, lowering light, and keeping the room cool support deeper rest. Inflammation. These small adjustments help the nervous system settle more quickly and stay relaxed throughout the night. Sleep quality improves not by force, inflammation, but by removing obstacles. Waking up is just as important as falling asleep. Inflammation. Morning light exposure helps reset the internal clock and strengthens the sleep rhythm for the next night. Inflammation. Getting light early in the day tells the body when daytime begins, making it easier to wind down later. Inflammation. This balance between day and night keeps energy stable instead of scattered. Respecting sleep rhythm is an act of self-respect. Inflammation. It's choosing to support your body instead of pushing it past its limits. When sleep becomes a priority, everything else becomes easier. Energy feels more consistent, focus becomes clearer. Inflammation. And the body responds with resilience and balance because it finally has the rest it needs to function at its best. Real change does not come from doing everything at once. It comes from small actions repeated daily until they become automatic. The body and brain respond best to consistency, not intensity. Inflammation. When people try to change everything overnight, motivation fades quickly and old habits return. Inflammation. This is why stacking one healthy habit at a time is so powerful. It removes pressure and replaces it with progress. One small action done daily builds confidence, and confidence fuels momentum. Habit stacking means attaching a new healthy behavior to something you already do. When the action is linked to an existing routine, it becomes easier to remember and easier to maintain. Brushing your teeth can remind you to stretch. Drinking water can cue a deep breath. Standing up can trigger a short walk. These pairings reduce resistance because the habit fits naturally into your day instead of competing with it. The brain loves patterns. When a behavior is repeated in the same context, the brain begins to automate it. This saves mental energy and increases follow-through. At first, the habit feels intentional. Over time, it becomes effortless. This is how long-term change happens without willpower. The goal is not to rely on motivation, but to build systems that support health automatically. Small habits have a compounding effect. 1 minute of movement leads to more energy. More energy improves mood. Better mood leads to better choices. These changes may feel subtle at first, but they grow stronger with time. What starts as a tiny action becomes a foundation for bigger improvements. The body responds positively because it senses consistency instead of chaos. Choosing the right habit matters. Start with something so simple that failure feels unlikely. The habit should feel achievable even on your worst day. This builds trust with yourself. Each time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that change is possible. This belief is essential for long-term success. Health improves not just physically, but mentally because confidence increases with every small win. Tracking progress doesn't require complexity. Awareness alone is enough. Noticing when you complete your habit reinforces the behavior. The brain releases a sense of satisfaction when it recognizes completion. This positive feedback strengthens the habit loop. Over time, the habit becomes part of your identity instead of a task on a list. Habit stacking also protects against burnout. Instead of forcing large changes, you allow growth to happen naturally. This creates sustainability. When life becomes busy or stressful, small habits are easier to maintain than drastic routines. They adapt to your schedule instead of collapsing under pressure. As habits stack, identity shifts. You no longer feel like someone trying to be healthy. You become someone who lives in alignment with healthy behaviors. This identity change is powerful. Choices become easier because they reflect who you believe you are. Health stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like a natural expression of your lifestyle. Setbacks are part of the process. Missing a day does not break a habit, quitting does. The focus is on returning to the habit without guilt or frustration. This flexibility keeps momentum alive. Consistency over time matters more than perfection in the moment. Each return strengthens resilience and self-trust. Stacking one habit at a time creates a strong foundation. Each habit supports the next. Movement improves sleep. Better sleep improves focus. Improved focus strengthens awareness. Awareness reinforces better choices. This upward cycle begins with a single daily action. When you respect the process and stay patient, the body responds with energy, clarity, and balance that feels stable and lasting. Change one habit today, and your body will thank you tomorrow. Your energy, focus, and life improve when you decide to act now.